ACAST.com/America.
So we just spoke with a fantastic organization making an impact in the small business community, but specifically dealing with women. Coming up, they have their Thrive Conference in mid-September, and Get Down to Business will be a proud media sponsor of that fantastic event. Speaking of women in business, I've got my friend Susan Caplan joining me. Susan is a business communication and marketing strategist, and I've seen her work in action. I've seen the many, many happy clients, but people that she's impacted. And today we're talking a little bit about how to tell your story. Susan, welcome back to Get Down to Business.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So one thing that you do so well is telling your story, and you have a fantastic story to tell. I know we've had you on the air in the past, and you have a very impressive resume. You've written a number of books, and that's something that I think you do better than anybody that I know is you tell your story and you help others do the same, whether it's around jobs or business. Is there a secret to that success?
Well, Shalom, there are so many elements that are put into a professional portfolio, whether you're looking for a job or trying to sell your business. But the one tool that takes so much thought is how you tell your story. And whether I'm working with talent acquisition managers or businesses, they tell me the same thing. Successful individuals know how to tell their story, whether they're at networking events or in interviews.
So, Susan, you do a fair share of teaching to young people. I know you've taught at Columbia College in Chicago. You've also done some teaching at Northwestern University and Loyola University. And a lot of young people, I hate to generalize over here, but a lot of young people going through college, they would say that they don't have a story to tell. You and I probably would debate that piece, but how do they tell their story to stand out from everybody else that's out there when there are so many engineering students and there's so many law school graduates? How do those young men and women tell their story to, whether it's for a job opportunity, a business opportunity, so their resume, so their story stands out from everybody else?
Well, yes, I do. I work with a lot of young professionals, and they'll say to me, I don't have a story yet. I'm still in school, or I just got out of school. But see, every new work experience you have, whether if you say, I only worked in fast food, that shows me that you're responsible. That shows me you're good working with other people, and you understand finances, and you understand interactions. And so that's very important. So every new experience, every new skill that's learned, every time you excel at something or work as part of a team, even in a class, sets you apart from the competition. And it's thinking through those individual experiences that will help you when you're telling your story. And
let's change that example from people in college, young adults graduating from college, and you and I certainly agree that everybody they have their story to tell unless they were living under a rock. They were involved in various summer jobs, various opportunities, and they just need to figure out how to polish that message and get that story out there. But let's change from young professionals. Let's talk about business owners, because after all, we are all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship on this program. There are many, many, many law firms out there. There are many accounting firms out there. There are many different companies that do very similar things. I believe it's the same thing that lands somebody a job, that gets somebody business. And that's the ability to tell your story, your ability to stand out. Would you agree? And how do you think a small business owner can tell their story so they can successfully articulate that message that use my services? I'm better. I can do a better job than the next guy.
Absolutely. So I've gone, and I'm sure you have too, you've been to many networking events where you meet small businesses, and you say, so how are you? And they say, well, I'm in marketing, or I'm in accounting, or I'm in legal. And you've left it up to me to decide what really you bring to the table, what value you bring. my quick tip on that is work from the finish line backwards. Think about, what do you want people to walk away from that event saying about you? What do you want them to tell other people and their colleagues and other businesses so that they use your services? And pick 3 things ahead of time that you want them to say. And then when you're talking about your business, I'm in marketing, but I specialize in A, B, or C. I'm an engineering student, and I've worked on these wonderful, teams, and we accomplished X, Y, and Z. And so always have more specifics that you want people to repeat. Make it easy for people.
That's fantastic advice, as I said, both for folks that are looking to develop their story for potential professional opportunities, such as jobs, but also for business as well. Susan, again, you tell your story really, really well. You've published the Marketing Yourself to the Real World book series, which is currently used by companies, colleges, organizations, and individuals. And I know that there's several different components of that book series where you sort of teach that message of how do you spread your story, how do you spread your message out into the real world. Can you share any other tidbits or advice that you share in your book series?
Well, this is another piece of advice that would work for someone looking for a new career or a new job or even have a business. The story you tell people when you meet them doesn't end when you leave that place. It's the story you tell at networking events that they need to leave there and look up your LinkedIn profile or your website or Google your name or even reviewing a resume and making sure that the story is consistent across all avenues so that there's no way that they can say, well, this isn't right, and I don't understand why they said this. It doesn't show up here. So just make sure your story is consistent across, all the areas that people might look into.
Well, Susan, your comments lead to an interesting point about branding, and everybody associates branding with big companies, but the truth is that individuals need to have a brand as well, and it sounds like you're suggesting that sometimes when you look at somebody's materials, whether it's a resume that has a link to a LinkedIn profile, maybe the message isn't consistent. And perhaps when you look at somebody's business card and then you get to their website, maybe again, that message isn't consistent. Do you think it's important to sort of sit back and actually develop a strategy, or is that too businessy if you're spending too much time doing functions like that? Is that overthinking the matter?
Well, I call it analysis paralysis. You can push yourself into a corner by overthinking it, but there are certain touch points to every professional career, and you really just want to connect the dots. You want to, exactly what I was saying, is the message that I'm saying to people verbally the same message that they're seeing when they see my face and my energy. If I say I'm a great communicator, but then I send you a resume and there's a typo in it, it tells me you're not a great communicator. If I say I love writing, but you don't have a blog out there, it tells me you're not really committed to it. So you just want to connect the dots to make sure that when someone's listening to you, they can see that what you're saying is true and that you're passionate.
That's absolutely mission critical. There's got to be the right balance between that over analysis. But also, again, I guess the basics is, you should not have a typo. And the basics are that the message that, again, is on your LinkedIn profile, you probably don't want to have promoting a different job search than the one that you have on a resume. Great advice. Susan Caplan, you're a accomplished author, speaker, educator. The list goes on and on and on. And I know our listeners certainly will have questions. I hope they have questions because you have a great message to share, and you really help others tell their story. Susan, how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more?
Well, go to my website, www.susan, S-U-S-A-N, Caplan, C-A-P-L-A-N.com.
Well, I hope on that website, I hope it doesn't talk about your athletic career on there, because that would not be a consistent message, would it?
It does not.
Okay, good. Just checking. Susan Caplan, again, SusanCaplan.com. Appreciate your time, advice, resources on the program. We'll be sure to have you back real soon.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Get Down to Business is powered by Tandem HR, your solution center. You can find them online, tandemhr.com, or give them a call, 630-928-0510. They are our solution center, our resource center for so much about HR, employee benefits, payroll, the new overtime laws, lots of great resources on their website, tandemhr.com. Check it out. After the break, we've got more tips, advice, and information. You're listening to Get Down to Business.
It's back